It's back by popular demand, and finally on the YouTubes, with no sick intro, no sick outro, no YouTube logos, no nothing. We at LoPresti Looks at Life headquarters have only the most ghetto of production at the moment, so you'll have to bear with us, or you could leave a comment, and I'll get mad at the people that are in charge of this thing. So this is the very first LoPresti Looks at Life ever on video. Expect it to be rough. Expect it to be not the greatest, but I hope that you are entertained nonetheless. So I wrote and delivered a eulogy for the first time in my life recently. It was like last week. It was from my grandmother, who passed away somewhat recently. So before we begin, keep that in mind. The delivering the eulogy, the funeral. There's two important characters in this drama, as the case may be, and that's going to be my grandmother and my mother. So, super high level production here. I'm going to show you guys. I don't have access to my my Google Slides, so check it out. We upgraded here at LoPresti Looks at Life, and we got this handy dandy little artistic visual thing for you. Check it. Boom. All right. So, two important things. Theme number one, don't be haunted by the past. Hopefully you can see my cool little ghosty figure there. And then also very important to this LoPresti Looks at Life, people have different sides. And I was going for like a smiley face and a sad face over here, but really it just looks like some disgruntled guy with some wrinkles on the side here. But you get the idea. Smile, sad face, right? Two people have two different sides, as is often the case in life. And before I continue, you need to understand a few things about my grandmother. The woman that I knew was very different than the woman a lot of people in my family knew. She always had honeycomb cereal ready for me. She always let my sister and I watch whatever stupid cartoons we wanted to watch on Saturday morning. She'd always be waiting for us by the porch when we drove up to visit her. I thought she was a really wonderful woman. I couldn't find anything wrong with her, right? And of course, she did all the regular grandma things. She had apple pie, lemonade, everything. She spoiled us, my sister and I, everything we could ever want. Now with my mom, so it was a little bit different. My grandmother was a very strict woman, very strict parent, and I think that my mom was constantly seeking the approval of my grandmother, and often didn't find it, and that was very hard for her. As my grandmother grew older, we moved her into a retirement home, and like all elderly folk, she retained less and less of her memory. She retained less and less of her wits. She became a lot more senile, and it became very difficult for my mom to have a healthy relationship with my grandmother. A lot of times my grandmother would wake up in the middle of the night. She'd call my mom, ask, "Oh, where are you? How come you're not here taking care of me? How come you're never around? You're a failure of a daughter." Things like that. Things that really hurt my mom. And so their relationship became strained. Grandmother passes away. My mom took it really hard. My mom has two brothers and a sister, but the two brothers are really important here. My mom felt that the rest of the family wasn't giving my grandmother the attention that she needed to have a good funeral. My mom wanted to see, even if it was just a small gathering, a gathering of people in a church. My mom wanted to have somebody read something to her about a grandmother, because my mom, despite everything that happened, my mom believed that her grandmother was a good person. And she was. And a lot of the other family members, I think, didn't see it that way. So the years go by. There's no funeral, there's no procession, there's not a whole lot. And my mom receives my grandmother's ashes, and they're sitting in her bedroom, which is a little bit creepy. So then this is the good part. Well, good part. This is where it kind of becomes a ghost story. Now, my grandmother was very stubborn, shall we say, when it came to her parenting, when it came to a lot of things, right? Very difficult to please woman, especially as she grew older. She was never happy with my mom. She was never happy with the things that she would say, and a lot of it was senility. But my mom took a lot of the stuff personally. So we decide to bury my grandmother in the front yard of my mom's house. She says, I can't take it anymore. I need to get these feelings out. And my mom does this really sweet thing. She puts my grandmother's ashes in a jewelry box. Also put some photos of them together, their life, things like that. Some pictures of my sister and I in there. It was really sweet. She goes out, buries it, covers it with dirt. That's that. So then, my mom is one of those people that when she's distressed, she reaches out to family. So she calls me up. She says, Tyson, can you come over and have dinner with us? Please come over. I just finished burying grandma. I want this whole thing to be done. And so I said, yeah, sure, Mom, let's go. We'll come over. So we go over. My mom is telling me about this, how she did this beautiful box and everything. And then we call for pizza or whatever it was. We call for food, and my mom is like, okay, go deliver it. So go pick it up. So we go out and we pick it up. My dad and I come back, and we're pulling into the driveway, and then we can't help but look at where the plot of land that my mom buried grandmother in, and we look at it, and there's her box sitting on the lawn. So it's like, should have been buried. Boop, box, just on the lawn. And my dad and I were like, huh, you shouldn't be there, Grandma. And our grandma was like, yeah, I know, but I decided to come back. And so, we go out there and we tell Mom. Of course, Mom is horrified. She's like, oh my God. And she's freaking out, and it's bad. So it was supposed to be this really nice dinner, and my grandmother deciding, no, I'm not ready yet. I'm not ready to be put to bed. She came back up. That ruined everything for the dinner. So we tried our best to make the most out of it. Didn't work. Mom buries her again. Different spot. Now, for those of you that aren't aware, wood is often very pretty, but when wood interacts with water, it absorbs the water and the wood swells. So my mom buried grandmother again, but this time she had a water pipe. So the water pipe floods the front yard and everything. And meanwhile, while this is happening, Dad's trying to be Mr. Plumber and patch things up and everything. My mom's freaking out, of course. And my mom freaks out a lot. I love her. She freaks out a lot. So everyone's going crazy again, and the box, kind of slowly, like horror style, kind of rises up out of the mud because there's all this water everywhere. So now the soil's all being dislodged, and once again, grandmother says, nah, I ain't ready. It's not my time yet. And so my mom, of course, is like super freaking out. So my mom is like, what if she's not happy? Oh my God, what if I just created a ghost? What if we're haunted now? And of course, like, Dad and I are like, Dad's like, honey, the house isn't haunted. And I was like, well, I don't know. It seems kind of suspicious now. This is twice that she's risen from the lawn. But Dad's like, shh, Tyson, don't say anything. Freak her out. So Mom's like freaking out. She thinks like we've invited your evil spirits into our home, and it's all bad. So finally, I decide that we need to have a funeral, a real, true funeral, even if it's just my wife and my family. Even we need to do something to pacify the angry and upset spirit of my grandmother, to prevent her from rising out of the earth once more. And so I write this eulogy because I felt that nobody else was going to write it. And I focused really hard when I was writing the eulogy about how, like, the grandmother that I knew was not the grandmother that everybody else knew. And I talked a lot about how we're all capable of good, we're all capable of doing bad things and hurting people. And I felt like that's what my mom really needed to hear was that the grandmother that she knew, yeah, of course, no parent is perfect. We say unkind words all the time, and we hurt people. But at the end of the day, mostly good, not mostly bad. And I think that's what my mom really wanted to hear. And even though these events of grandmother, rising forth from the earth and haunting our house and our front yard for a few days, the time span for there only a few days, but this being haunted by the past really has affected my mom for I don't know, a year and a half. It's been a long time, and it made me reflect a lot about how we go through life, we see everybody, and we may only see one side of them. We may be fortunate enough to see two sides, maybe even three or four sides of people, and the sides that we see are not always the same ones that people are going to present and reveal to other people. So even if, what I'm trying to say is, even if you catch somebody on their worst possible day, just remember that that's only a side, right? And if you see this side multiple times, then you should start asking yourself, okay, is this what I'm dealing with, kind of a permanent thing, or is this just a temporary side that someone has built up to protect themselves from something? Is this a temporary face that somebody has built because of the circumstances surrounding them right here, right in this moment? So I'm happy to say that my grandmother, after my lovely eulogy, by the way, humble brag or not so humble brag, depending on how you want to take it, she has remained in the dirt for several weeks now. So I can safely report that while my house was haunted my parents' house was haunted for like 3 days or so, no more. I officially and decisively exorcised my very first ghost. I pacified the spirit of my grandmother. We held a beautiful funeral, even if it was just the five of us. And that's what my mom needed. My mom needed to hear that there was someone else who'd seen the good in her own mother, even though a lot of people said that side of her mom didn't exist. So, recap. Don't be haunted by the past, guys. Baggage can only weigh you down. It's not healthy to carry that around. It's not fair to other people that have to help you consistently with your own baggage. It's not a good look. Second, always remember, guys, people have different sides. And sometimes even T-Lop, he shows you an angry side because of he had a bad class, he's having a bad day. And remember that you guys have to see whether or not it's temporary or permanent, right? And that's the difference. Is the difference is consistency. My grandmother, I think, was consistently a good person. Always had the honeycomb cereal. Always let us use the TV. Always was waiting for us, no matter what time of night we drove up there. So that's the first ever LoPresti Looks at Life on YouTube. If you hated it, if you thought it was bad, let me know in the comments. We're still working here with high dollar production team and whatnot. So let me know what you want to see, and if you have any LoPresti Looks at Life that you would like me to recapture, put on YouTube, let me know. That way you can you can listen to your favorite LoPresti Looks at Life anytime that you want. Have a good day. If it's applicable and you're watching this on Friday, have a wonderful weekend, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.